Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, June 30th, 2022. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. One thing you'll notice here is the previous session had a significantly narrow trading range day. We've been following narrow range days with high range days most of the time here lately. If you look down here on the indicator, you'll notice just recently a low range day leading to a high range, and then another low range day leading to a high range. We've seen it here. We've seen it even back here. So again, a lot of low range days leading to high range days lately in this market. Yesterday was about as narrow as it gets. Very, very narrow range. And today could see another decently high range day. We're looking for somewhere between 100 points and 125 points of range here potentially today. And again, given the downside break here, we could be looking from today's high of 38.25 and forecasting lower to about 37.25. So that could be about where we head today here, given the weakness that we've already seen. We've already begun to sell off. We're at 61% of ADR, 64 points right now of range, and we could still be looking at more downside of at least another 50 points to the downside, 37.25. So again, right now still showing quite a bit of signs of weakness overall. This market basically had 1 week up here, and then you're seeing a whole complete reversal of that move this week. Now, if price is able to get above 37.90 here today, that could start a little bit of a bounce back above 3,800, but shy of that effort right there, we could be looking at further downside price action again here today. Taking a look at the NQ, very similar price action, another narrow range day. Yesterday, we had one here and a big high range day. We had one here, big high range day here, etc. And now, again, down through the previous session's low. The NQ has a high today of 11,700, and we've been averaging somewhere between 400 and 500 points here on the average to upper end of that average range. So again, the 125% to the 10-period average is between 400 and 500 points. We got that a couple of days ago when we were looking for that move, and now again we could be looking at something similar here today. If price is able to bust back above the 11,575s, that could open up a little bit of strength again, maybe 100 points back up. But as of right now, again, 11,575, nice resistance here at the moment. A bit of a rejection at that point. A failure to get back above that point could keep things going to the downside in the near term here. So again, very hard to shake off the downtrend that we've seen. After any bounce, we've seen some weakness, and again today taking out the previous session's low and holding below that point as of right now. Above 11,575 can open up a 100-handle rally, maybe a bit more, but until then, everything's still working its way down. From 11,700 top, we could be looking for a move as deep as 11,300 later today. All right, let's take a look here at crude oil. Crude oil here, this one down about 0.5% right now. It had a tremendous top that was in development yesterday that finished very weak. You can see that rejection right there. That rejection is off a PivotBoss pivot. It is the yearly R75 on the PivotBoss pivot, so R75, R100. So it dropped off of R100, dropped down, came back to R75 and is failing. And that kind of rejection right there, which we've been mentioning for the last week or so, if we were to bounce back, we could see a rejection here that takes us down farther inside this range down below. 95 to about 100 could be in play. Right now we're trading 109s. Got a developing modified Pima crossover sell signal that needs the rest of the day here to really develop here. But again, if there's a failure to hold or stay above the previous session's low, we could be looking at more weakness up ahead. So right now, that strong top, very significant. 114 even there, 114.05. that could lead to a drop back toward 95 to 100 up ahead, especially if price can't get back above that zone. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin down 5% here today and is on new lows, down below 20. 19,165 is the level here. Again, very narrow range that's developed at these lows. Very similar to what we've seen before. And every time we've seen these very narrow ranges that have developed after sell-offs, we've seen a lack of bounce, a lack of juice, not even a dead cat bounce. I mean, these markets are just kind of sitting at these lows and holding. And as we mentioned before, there's still another 10 to 13,000 points of potential range fuel inside these narrow ranges here. We could be looking at a significant dump up ahead. Again, failing to hold 20 can open up a 10,000 point move back toward 10,000. We could be getting another 50% haircut here in Bitcoin up ahead. Looking at Ether futures right now, this one's down over 7.5% right now. And this one also is flirting with the potential break to the downside. This one has quite a bit of energy that has developed here as well. 700 points, I believe, of energy at the very least that could be seen here, which is huge. I mean, right now we're sitting at 1,000. If you drop 600-700 points, you're taking quite a bit of percentage off of this chart right here. 717 is the previous year's low. 902.5 is the key range low. We're still looking for price to take those out, so we could be looking at somewhere in the 600 range or maybe even the 500 range before this thing starts to find a little bit of a bottom. So again, 1,000 right now at risk of being taken out. Still in the range overall, but as I mentioned a couple of days ago, after this couple of days of strength, we haven't seen 2 days of strength like that. And the tendency here is to push this thing back down. So here we are again, narrow range developing at the bottom edge of that range, and soon we could be looking at a flush that takes us into that 717 previous year's low. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.